Good morning, student. I hope all of you are well. After many days, we are now again coming back to our virtual classes. So today we will discuss about the salient features of the Indian Constitution 1. Here we will discuss about some of the important features of the Indian Constitution. That means the single citizenship, universal adult franchise, fundamental rights, the restrictions, the provisions of the fundamental rights, as well as we will also discuss about the fundamental duties, the importance of the fundamental duties, etc. in this chapter. So first, let's start with the first point is the single citizenship. Single citizenship. First point. So, what do you mean by single citizenship? Well, the Indian Constitution that provide for a single citizenship. That means that all Indians, irrespective of their states or their state domiciles, they are the citizen of India. Unlike the America, because American citizens have a dual citizenship. First of all, one citizenship is provided by their country, America, and another one by their state or province. But India, we have only one citizenship because our state do not provide us any kinds of citizenship. Next is the second feature is the universal adult franchise. But one more thing I forgot to tell you in the first point, the single citizenship. But the Indian Constitution amended in 2003, and according to that amendment, that the Indian people, those who migrated to other countries after 1950, 26 January, they will have all the fundamental rights except the voting rights. Next is second feature is the universal adult franchise. That means universal adult franchise means the all persons of 18 years or above 18 years, they have a right to give vote and choose their representative, irrespective of their caste, creed, religion, gender, color, etc. So why this system is introduced? This system is introduced to curb the communal politics as well as the fostering the communal harmony. Next is the fundamental rights. Third features. What do you mean by fundamental rights? The fundamental rights are the basic human rights of which provided the conditions which essential for the all-round developments of a human being. And they protect people from unjust policies, unjust discriminations among the members of the community. They don't make any distinctions between or any difference between the people based on their caste, creed, religion, race, gender, etc. So they give recognitions to dignity and equality of all human beings. And number three, the fundamental rights are given. Fundamental rights are given in the Constitution Part 3 under the article number 14 to 32. From 14 to 32. Now we will see one by one fundamental rights. There are actually 6 fundamental rights, but later another one added. So what are the 6 fundamental rights? I want to tell you the names. Number 1, the first is the right to equality, that is mentioned under the article number 14 to 18. Then number 2, right to freedom, that mentioned under the article number 19 to 22. Then number 3, right against exploitation, 23 and 24. Then right to religion, that mentioned under the article number 25 to 28. Then number 5 is cultural and educational rights, that mentioned under the article number 29 and 30. Then next is constitutional remedies, right to constitutional remedies, that is fundamental rights number 6, that mentioned under the article number 31 and 32. And another one later added in 2002 around that is educational rights, that mentioned under the article number 21A. So these are the 7 fundamental rights. So first we will discuss about the right to equality. Right to equality mentioned under the article number 14 to 18. So there are how many provisions? Actually 5 provisions. 14, 16, 17, 18. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So first is article number 14. So equality before law. That means Article number 14 that guarantees both equality before law as well as the equality in protections by the law, irrespective of the caste, creed, religion, gender, etc. Next is Article number 15. Article number 15 that prohibit the discrimination on the grounds mentioned in Article number 14. Article number 14, example, the admissions of the educational institution, allotments of the shops, etc. Next is number 17, the equality of opportunity, which Article number 16 that provide for equal opportunity for the citizens in matters related to employment in the central as well as the state governments, and it also prohibit any sorts of discriminations on the grounds that mentioned under the Article number 14, that means caste, creed, religion, gender, etc. Next is Article number 17, the abolitions of untouchability, that mention abolition of untouchability, which Article number 17 abolishes the untouchability and its practices in any forms, and any person that preventing the other forms, the entering a place of worship, public worship, or using public wells, etc. So that will be a punishable offense by law. Next, number 18, Article number 18, that abolitions of taxes, abolitions of titles. So Article number 18 abolishes the all titles like the Rai Sahib, Khan Bahadur, Maharaja, etc. These titles are actually considered as negations of the equal status for men. But however, the titles such as the Bharat Ratna, Padma Vibhushan, all these are actually not the title because the people do not use after their names. So these are actually kind of honor for their excellence in some subjects or particular matter. Now next is the second fundamental right, is right to freedom, that mentioned under the Article number 19 to 22. So this article number, the right to freedom, here under the Article number 19, there have the 6 basic freedom given. What are the 6 basic freedom mentioned in Article number 19? Number 1, freedom of speech and expression. Number 2, freedom to move freely throughout the country. Number 3, freedom to settle anywhere in India. Number 4, freedom to form any union or association. Number 5, freedom to gather anywhere, to organize meetings. And number 6, freedom to choose any profession, trade, etc. But these freedoms are not absolute. Some reasonable restriction can be imposed over these basic freedoms. So the Constitution restricts the state from enacting the law which could curtail the basic freedoms. But at the same time, it does not mean that the state cannot make laws for the public goods or state public goods or the protections of the interest of the trade and the profession, etc. Where the state can make laws to prescribe the certain minimum educational, technical, as well as qualification for entry in a certain professions. So similar, some areas are restricted for a particular community, so you cannot settle there because that particular area is reserved for a particular community. So these kinds of restriction can be imposed, and also given the limitations. Number 1, emergency. The Article 19 can be suspended during the national emergency. Number two is not absolute. These fundamental duties are these basic freedoms are not absolute. So reasonable restriction can be imposed over these basic freedoms. Next is the laws of parliament. So legislation like the Preventive Detention, Essential Maintenance Act, Essential Services Maintenance Act, etc. A law to ensure that the delivery of essential services like the public transport, health services, etc., which is obstructed, would affect the normal life of the people and impose a certain restriction on the right to freedom. Now next is the B, that means protections in respect of convictions for offences that mentioned under the article number 20. Some protections available to the people when they are arrested due to some offences. So number one, first point is, what are the protection available to the people? So number one, against a greater penalty than what is prescribed under the law is prohibited. Next is number 2. Number 2 is no one can be punished or prosecuted twice for the same offense. Next, number 3, a person cannot be compelled to be a witness in case where he himself is accused for that offense. Next is the protections of life and the personal liberties that is mentioned under the article number 21. So a person cannot be deprived of his life and liberty except in accordance with the laws. So the protections against the arrest and detention, protection against the arrest and detention that given under the article number 22. So there are two circumstances. One is the ordinary circumstances, another one is preventive detention. So first is the ordinary circumstances. If a person is arrested under ordinary circumstances, then what are the rights available to the person to save himself from that situations? So number 1, to be informed his or her offense. Number 2, to be present before a magistrate within the 24 hours of his arrest. Number 3, the right to consult with the lawyer to prepare for defense at the trial. So these are the rights available to the person who is arrested under ordinary circumstances. Next is the preventive detention. What do you mean by preventive detention? In case a person is detained under a preventive detention, he should be kept in a custody for a period of 3 months without any trial. That is called a preventive detention. And what are the rights available to the person who is detained under a preventive detention? Number 1, the preventive detention does not mean the person is accused. That is just a precautionary measure. Number 2, detention beyond the 3 months can be extended only by an advisory board that constituted the purpose and consisting a judge of the High Court. Next is number 3. Grounds of detention should be informed or specified, and the person have a right to consult with his representative to defense in the court. So next is the limitations. This preventive detentions also have some limitations, like number 1, public interest. The authority or the state government take recourse to public interest and to refuse to disclose the grounds of detention. Next is number 2. Second point is the power of the parliament. So the legislature or the parliament has the power to specify the maximum period of the preventive detention. Next, third fundamental right. So third fundamental right is right against exploitation, and that is mentioned under the article number 23 and 24. The right uphold the dignity of the individual and prohibit the exploitations in the some of the respect or following respect, like article number 23A, freedom from slavery, beggary and the other forms of forced labor. And next, the 23rd B, that trafficking in human beings means buying or selling of a human being is prohibited, and it also prohibited the use of women or girls in immoral practices or purposes. Next is the article number 24, which is article number 24 prohibit the employments of the children below the 14 years in where? In factories, mines, other hazardous conditions. Next is another one fundamental rights, that is freedom or right to freedom of religion, and that is mentioned under the article number 25 to 28. So first point, all persons are entitled freedom of profess, practice and propagate their own religion. Number 2, the subject to public order, morality and the health. Every religious denominations or any section therefore have some rights. What are the rights they have? Number 1, to establish and maintain the institution for religious as well as charitable purposes. Number 2, to manage its own affairs in the matters of religion. Number 4, not to administer such property. Third point is to own and acquire movable and immovable property. And number 4 is to administer and to administer such property according with the law. Next, third point. Third point is no person shall be compelled to pay taxes for the promotion of a particular religion. Number four, no religion institution shall be provided in any institution wholly maintain out the state fund. So these are the important provisions of the right to religion. Now next is another one point is a 5. Even though religious instructions may be imparted in educational institution recognized by or receiving funds from the state, no person attending such institution shall be compelled to receive the religious instruction without the consent of himself or his guardian. So next is another one, fundamental rights. Fundamental rights number 5 is the cultural and educational rights. So this is mentioned under the article number 29 and 30. So first is the protections of minorities. So article number 29 give a sections of people or a whole of them the right to preserve their own distinctive language, script, culture in matters to admission to any educational institution maintained by the state. The admission cannot be denied on the grounds of their religion, color, caste, etc. Next, article number 30, the minorities and the educational institutions. Article number 30 give all minorities the right to set up their own educational institutions and administer the educational institution according to their choice, and the state is also prohibited from discriminating against educational institutions in the matters of grants. So state will provide the grants equally. Next, 6 fundamental rights. Fundamental rights number 6, the right to constitutional remedies. So fundamental rights are justiciable, and that means if our fundamental rights are violated, so we can move to the court and file an application and we can get justice, and that is possible due to the presence of this fundamental rights, right to constitutional remedies. If this fundamental rights is absent in our fundamental rights list, so our other fundamental rights are meaningless. So that is why this fundamental right is considered, or according to B.R. Ambedkar view, the heart and soul of the Indian Constitution. So without heart, human body is meaningless. So same, without these fundamental rights, our constitution is meaningless. So next, so under this article, the Supreme Court and the High Court has a power to issue writs to protect our fundamental rights. So what is writ? Okay, writ is a formal written order issued by Supreme Court or High Court to provide a legal remedies to the individual who do not getting or obtain the adequate protection under ordinary law. So the Supreme Court and the High Court can issue this writ and enforce the fundamental rights of the citizens. How many types of writs they can issue? 5 types of writs: habeas corpus, mandamus, writs of prohibition, writs of certiorari, and quo warranto. So these are the 5 types of writs can be issued by the Supreme Court and the High Court. So first is the habeas corpus. It means to have the body. By using such writ, High Court and the Supreme Court can get the body of a person released if it has been unlawfully detained by any person, group of person, or by the state. Next, number two is the mandamus. Mandamus, it's a Latin word. It means by we order. So it is command or an order from the higher authority or superior court to a lower court or an administrative authority to perform a certain duty. That means you just do your own duty. Next, number three is writ of prohibition. So writs of prohibition is an order of the superior authority to a lower authority to stop proceeding the case which might be beyond the limit or excess, or maybe the excess of the jurisdiction of the particular court, to stop proceeding such cases. Next is number four, writs of certiorari. That means this writ is issued a superior court to a lower court or lower judicial authority to desiring to be informed of what is going on. That means a lower court responsibility is to inform the upper authority what is going on in the respective court. Next is number 5, quo warranto. That means by what order, which it is issued when a person has captured or usurped any office, and this writ thus prevent the public offices from forcibly or wrongly holding a high public office. So these are the 5 basic writs that can be issued by Supreme Court and the High Court to protect the fundamental rights. Next is the fundamental rights number 7, right to education. This right has been guaranteed by the Constitution that I already mentioned after 86 Amendment Act in 2002, and this is mentioned under the article number 21A that has been inserted that the state shall provide free and compulsory education to all the children between 6 to 14 years age. Next, right to property. Article that earlier given in the Constitution under the article number 31 earlier empowered the citizen to India to purchase, hold and dispose of movable as well as immovable property as a fundamental rights. But however, in keeping with the socialistic philosophy of the Constitution, the right to property was deleted from our fundamental rights list after the 44 Amendment Act 1978. Next is the restriction imposed over the fundamental rights. Our fundamental rights are not absolute. Some reasonable restriction can be imposed over our fundamental rights. So first is the fundamental rights can be suspended when the president declared a emergency, state emergency. When the president issued the state emergency during the war, external aggression or armed rebellion in such situation. Next is number 2, for the security of the state and the national interest, a reasonable restriction can be imposed over our fundamental rights. Next is there are some laws which restrict the use of these rights in public interest, like ESMA, Preventive Detention Act, DIR, Defense India Rule, etc. So next, fundamental duties. So duties and rights go hand in hand. So there can be no rights in a society where you don't have any duties. So if you have a duties, responsibility, then only we have some rights. So it was in keeping with this ideals. In a view, the fundamental duties are incorporated in the Constitution, and it's mentioned under the article number 51A, and this mentioned in part 4. So there are how many fundamental duties mentioned in the Constitution? 11 fundamental duties. We have to remember few. So number 1, to abide by the Constitution and respect the ideals as well as institution and the national flag, national anthem. Next, number 2 to uphold and protect the sovereignty and the integrity of the country. Next, number 3, to protect the harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood among all the people. Next, number 4, to protect and improve the natural environment, including the forest, lakes, the rivers, etc. Number 5, to develop scientific temper, then humanism and the spirit of inquiry and reforms. Number 6, to safeguard the public property and abjure the violence. Next is as well as to keep ourselves ready to do something for the country whenever country required to do so. So these are the basic fundamental duties we have to follow in our everyday life. Next is the importance of the fundamental duties. Importance of the fundamental duties, number 1, to make the citizen aware of their social and the economic obligations. Number 2, to tame the unruly elements from the society. And number 3, to strengthen the national harmony as the steer of the patriotism. Number 4, to protect and awaken the people to their cultural heritage. So these are the importance of the fundamental duties. I hope students, all of you understood. If you have any queries, any kinds of questions regarding this chapter, you can ask through WhatsApp. Okay, till then, thank you. See you again on next week. Okay.